I grew up in such a big family that the kids in my family were divided into two major groups, the big kids and the little kids. And I'm the second oldest, so I was one of the big kids, and I was actually quite proud of that because it was much cooler to be a big kid than a little kid. We big kids were innovators and leaders, and we did super cool things like spy on neighbors and cheat at Monopoly, whereas the little kids mostly just sat around, you know, eating paste and shitting themselves. So much more cachet in the big kid group. One of our favorite activities as big kids was scaring the little kids, and I'm not really sure why we liked doing it as much as we did, but we did it a lot, and we were actually quite good at it. I was probably the best at it, and I'm proud of that. And I'm actually better at scaring little kids. I'm still really good at it, actually. I'm better at scaring little kids than I even knew that I was. And case in point, 1967. When I was 8 years old, my brother Peter, who was 6 years old and also a big kid, and I were exploring some dark, navigated corner in our basement, and we came across this box, and in the box were these two horrifying masks that we had never seen before, one of a witch and one of a werewolf. And they were so realistic. They weren't like grotesquely exaggerated and comical like Halloween masks. They looked real, like they looked like a real witch and a real werewolf. And as we held these things in our hands and felt the weight and import of them, we both simultaneously had the exact same idea, which was these would be awesome for scaring the little kids, you know. And as we let that feeling kind of wash over us, we realized that if we were strategic and smart about it, we could reach new ground. We could go beyond scaring and actually downright terrify the little kids. And so that was our goal. And we set about, I was actually the leader. I know it's bragging, but I was the leader in this. And we set about the next 3 days. We took 3 days to put this plan together because we didn't want to do something ordinary and waste the potential of these masks. So we didn't want to just put them on like wearing our pajamas and jump out from behind the couch. We wanted to transform ourselves into an actual witch and an actual werewolf. So we sourced unrecognizable clothing from our parents' closets and assembled the most amazing costumes. Actually, we prefer the word disguises because costumes is sort of, you know, doesn't do it justice. We even found hand coverings and shoes that nobody would ever associate with us. And we put them all in a box. And once we had assembled all the pieces of our disguises, the plan was this. That Saturday night, as soon as the house was dark, Peter was going to sneak into my room, we were going to put on our disguises, and we were going to creep up the hallway into our little brother Charlie and Tony's room, who were 5 and 4 at the time. And we were going to loom over their beds and awaken them from slumber and terrify them. And this was such a delicious prospect that it was actually really good that it took 3 days because we really got to stretch out the anticipation. And my favorite part about this plan in retrospect is that that's where it stopped. Like, it never occurred to us to think about what we might want to do once our parents had been awakened by our screaming brothers in the middle of the night. It just never even occurred to us. I mean, we would just get to that point where they were so terrified and we would dissolve into sinister laughter and, you know, we'd wipe our hands together. It was just like perfect. Why go anywhere else? This was nirvana. So anyway, the night finally came. The night came and everything at first went as planned. The house was quiet. Peter snuck into my room. We started putting on our disguises, and I have to tell you, we looked exactly like a witch and a werewolf. I mean, we scared ourselves. We'd look at each other and just be alarmed at how frightening we were. And the pièce de résistance, the best part of both of our costumes, was this scarf that I found that was navy blue with white polka dots. And I'm 57 years old. This has been almost 50 years, and I still remember this scarf. And it was so brilliant because it covered the top of the mask. and it covered my telltale hairline, and I tied it over the top of my head. And not only did it serve to disguise these, recognizable aspects of the disguise, but it looked exactly like the kind of headgear an actual witch would wear, so it was super true to form. And anyway, we were all done, and we started walking up the black and white checkered hallway, and with every step we took, we got deeper and deeper into character, and we were lifting our hands higher and higher, and we got to their door, and we slowly opened it, and I started cackling, and Peter started growling, and all of a sudden, this huge, looming, dark figure arose from Tony's bed and turned to us and said, "You two get out of here right now!" And it was our mother, who had apparently fallen asleep while reading Tony a story. Well, I don't have to tell you what a code red situation this was. It was bad, and there was nothing to do except run back to our rooms, strip the costumes, jump under our covers, and pull the blankets up. I mean, we're talking wooden spoon material here. This was bad. So we were the ones who ended up getting terrified, right, waiting for her to come in and exact our punishment. But she didn't come in. And then the next day we thought, well, we better tiptoe around this and not mention it because she has forgotten and we don't want to remind her. Nothing happened the next day. So we got away with it, except for the one piece of important information was that these beautiful costumes were wasted. And they were so realistic and so perfect, and they did not realize their full potential, or so I thought. Because 3 years later, when I got punished for something I did not do and I did not deserve to be punished for, I had gathered my younger siblings around me and I was holding court talking about Mom's mean, Mom's unfair, I don't like Mom. And they were all listening to me, and my little brother Tony, who was then 7, piped up and said, "Mom's brave." And I said, "What are you talking about, Mom's brave?" And he said, "Mom's brave. One night, a long time ago, a witch and a werewolf came into our room, and Mom told them, 'Get out!' And they ran away, and she wasn't even scared."